What's up, everyone? So the conference finals MVP was introduced this postseason, and we had Stephen Curry winning the West Conference Finals MVP and Jason Tatum winning the East Conference Finals MVP. But in this video, we'll look at NBA players that could have won the Conference Finals MVP award in the last 10 years. LeBron James deserved to win 8 of those trophies. So let's just start with the East. The East, man. The Larry Bird Eastern Conference Finals MVP Award 2011-2012 LeBron James, the Miami Heat. So this was the second season that LeBron James was playing for the Miami Heat, and he's on at an all-time tear. Like in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Miami Heat beat the Boston Celtics in 7, 4 and 3. His statistics were 33 points, 11 rebounds, 3.9 assists, 1.1 steals, and 1.3 blocks. This was the first year that LeBron James won the NBA championship. To get there, the Heat had to defeat the former championship team of Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen. To get there, the series went all 7 games, and a battle of Hall of Fame talent on both sides. So I mean, LeBron James, LeBron James was coming off a finals loss against Dallas Mavericks. It was actually pretty embarrassing because that was the first season where he was the Miami Heat. And in the 2010 decision that he mentioned that he was going to win not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, the whole drill. But he was able to dominate the league 2011-2012. He won the regular season MVP and also bagged the NBA Finals MVP. So I mean, he did everything. The best of the best was LeBron James, who led all scorers in 5 of the 7 games, as well as all rebounders in 3 games. So the Celtics led at 3-2, and heading into Game 5 to avoid elimination, LeBron James led the Heat to a 98-79 victory with 45 points, 15 rebounds to force a Game 7. This is the game where LeBron James shot 72% from the field. In the final game, LeBron James led the Miami Heat 31 points, 12 rebounds in a 101-88 victory. Dwayne Wade added in his 21.4 points, 5.7 rebounds, 4.9 assists in the series. But it was clearly James that was the best player in that series. So you could see LeBron James was just on an all-time tear, and I mean, he didn't even stop there. 2012, 2013, LeBron James again with the Miami Heat. Eastern Conference Finals, Miami Heat versus the Indiana Pacers. With this series, went all 7 games, and I mean, LeBron James was still on an all-time tear. 29 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 1.4 steals, and 1.4 blocks per game. So LeBron James won the NBA championship in 2012, 2013 with the Heat going back to back. And what we forget is that it took 7 games. It took 7 game series in the conference finals to make it to the NBA finals. So in this finals, Paul George and the Indiana Pacers pushed the Heat to 7 games in a highly watched back and forth battle. I mean, both teams are holding serve pretty well. James led all scorers in all 7 games. So James scored at least 30 points in 4 games and scored 30 points in a 103-102 win in Game 1, as well as 30 points in a 90-79 Game 5 win. In Game 7, James led the Heat with 32 points in a 99-76 win. This was the game that Paul George utterly capitulated and he scored 7 points. He was 0 for 9, and he had a negative plus minus. Is just crazy, man. For this series, the second leading scorer was Dwayne Wade with 15 points per game. James doubled that production himself, so he was clearly the surefire Eastern Conference Finals MVP. If that award was there. And heading into the next season, 2013-2014, they didn't win the championship, but I mean, the Heat again made the finals, the fourth trip in the NBA Finals. I mean, every year LeBron James has been in the Miami Heat, he has made the finals. So Eastern Conference Finals, the Miami Heat versus the Indiana Pacers. This series was 1 game short, 4-2. Took 6 games. So there was a rematch between the Indiana Pacers and the Miami Heat. This was supposed to be the rivalry of the the rivalry that will last a couple of years, but it didn't happen. But LeBron James, 22 points per game, 6.3 rebounds, 5.5 assists per game, 1.8 steals, 0.8 blocks. So the Heat and the Pacers had a rematch in 2014, but the Heat came on top in 6 games. So Wade would have given James a run for his money in the series. Wade averaged 19.8 points, 4.3 rebounds, 4.7 assists, and 1.7 steals. He also shot 46% from the three-point range and 54% from the field. With that said, James was consistent for the series in both points, assists, and steals. So you can see, I mean, LeBron's dominance was just evident. He was just, just tearing teams apart, and no one had an answer for him. The difference in this series was that James leading the Heat to win in Game 3 and Game 4, scoring 26 points and 32 points respectively. In Game 6, James scored 25 points to tie Chris Bosh for the most in the team. In the last conference finals with the Heat, James will have likely gone 4-4 and will be included in the conference finals as well. So this season, he also would have won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. So, I mean, LeBron James every postseason he just switches up and just changes into a gear that, I mean, it's not been seen. It's never been seen before, because this guy, man, he has just done everything. Then in the offseason 2014, he left the Cavs. He left the Heat for the Cavs, and 2014-2015, LeBron James would again win that award if it was there. Eastern Conference Finals, the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Atlanta Hawks. So LeBron James stats with the Cleveland Cavaliers: 30 points per game, 11 rebounds, 9.3 assists per game, 1.5 steals, 0.5 blocks per game. I mean, it was just crazy, man. The Atlanta Hawks were the number one seed in the East during James' first season back with the Cleveland Cavaliers. However, James let the team remember how the best he truly was. So the Cavaliers made quick work with the Hawks by sweeping them in 4 games. I mean, LeBron James, even without Kevin Love or Kyrie, I mean, he alone took apart the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks at that season. They had 4 All-Stars, and 4 All-Stars. They weren't even starters. I mean, it was just their season, but unfortunately, LeBron James he just poured in 31 points, 30 points, 37, 23 points in those 4 wins, and they didn't have an answer for LeBron James. I mean, LeBron James just still at an all-time tear at that time, and he still made the NBA Finals, but he fell short to them. He didn't have his 2 All-Stars in Kevin Love and Kyrie, so he fell to the Warriors in 6 games. But LeBron James had his best game in Game 3, where he led the Cleveland Cavaliers side 37 points and 18 rebounds in a 114-111 win at home. For the series, Kyrie missed 2 games, while Kevin Love didn't play a single game because Kelly Olynyk snatched Kevin Love's shoulder in the first round with the Boston Celtics. So yet James still managed to pull off the sweep and average 30 points per game. So you can see how exemplary this dude is. I mean, 30 points, 11 rebounds, 9.3 assists. I mean, and then again, 2015-2016, this is the year that the Cleveland Cavaliers, led by LeBron James, they were able to beat the Golden State Warriors to overcome a 3-1 deficit. Eastern Conference Finals, Cleveland Cavaliers versus Toronto Raptors. They beat the Raptors in 6 games. LeBron James, 26 points, 8.5 rebounds, 6.7 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block per game. Despite Kyrie Irving leaving the team with scoring in 2 of the opening wins, James would take this award in a narrow margin. Kyrie Irving, he averaged 24 points, 3.3 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 1.8 steals in the series. While those are great numbers, James managed to do just a little bit more for the team. What stands out the most is that LeBron James have won this award and not led the team in scoring in 3 of the 4 wins. So Kyrie Irving, I mean, 27 and 26 points paced the Cavs past the first 2 games. After dropping 2 games again, Game 3 and Game 4, the Cavs used 25 points from Kevin Love in Game 5. In the end, LeBron James erupted in Game 6 with 33 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists to lead the team in a 113-87 win to make the NBA Finals. I mean, LeBron James, again, he has won that award by beating the Toronto Raptors in 6 games. Then again, I mean, 2016-2017 Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, they still made the finals. In 2016, they made the finals and won it, as I mentioned earlier. Then 2016-2017, I mean, LeBron James, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they matched up with the Boston Celtics, and the Boston Celtics was a very short series for the Cavs because the Cavs won in 5. The stats, the LeBron James put up 29 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 6.8 assists, 2.2 steals, 1.2 blocks, without no, without with Kyrie and Kevin Love healthy, the Cavaliers were not going to be stopped by a younger Celtics squad. Mind you, they're actually the one of the weakest one seed I've ever seen. James taught Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown some valuable lessons with a Game 5 winning series win. The Cavaliers won the first two games in the series. In Boston, with James leading the way with 38 points in Game 1 and 30 points in Game 2 after the Celtics stole a game in Cleveland, having scored 42 points in Game 4, but he was overshadowed by James' 34 points in the final. LeBron James scored 35 points to lead a 135 1-2 blowout win. Kyrie Irving, he averaged 25.8 points per game and shot 62.2% from the field, as well as finished with 50 40 90 for the series. But it's hard to believe that would have voted Kyrie over James on this, but it was just actually pretty close between Kyrie and LeBron James. But I will actually give LeBron James this award because, man, without LeBron James, where would the Cavs be? What would the Cavs be without LeBron James? Okay, they won. They went ahead in the finals. They got beat by Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, with the Warriors in 5. But hey, yeah, that award, man, it should have been gone to his hands, especially that time. Then moving on to the 2018 series season, LeBron James again with the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is actually the final year before he left the Cavs to go to the Lakers at the time. Eastern Conference Finals, Boston Celtics versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers won this game in 7, and LeBron James, man, he went on an all-time tear again. 33 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, 8.4 assists, 1.1 steals, 1.1 blocks per game. This 7-game series was one to watch. It's actually for the ages. The Celtics led a 3-2 advantage before LeBron James went on a tear to force a Game 7 and then win on the road in Boston with TD Garden. James was the leading scorer for both teams in 6 of the 7 games. He led both teams in points and rebounds in Game 6 and Game 7. He just decided to go full on attack mode in those 2 games just to punch his ticket to the finals for his 8 straight finals. He scored over 40 points 3 times. That included 42 points in a loss in Game 2. James scored 44 points in Game 4 to tie up the series 2-2. After losing Game 5, James scored 46 points and added 11 rebounds in Game 6. Then scored 35 points, 15 rebounds, and in Game 7 to lead the Game 7 victory. The win was even sweeter given that Kyrie, his former teammate, was on the Celtics at the time. So LeBron James clearly was going to get that award this year. And he made the finals, but got swept by the Golden State Warriors, led by KD, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, everyone there. So, man, it was just so underwhelming to see LeBron James just go and just get overmatched by 4 All-Stars in one team. So, that's that. It all had a silver lining because he went to the Los Angeles Lakers, and the rest is history. 2018-2019, Kawhi Leonard with the Toronto Raptors, Eastern Conference Finals. Toronto Raptors with Milwaukee Bucks. So Kawhi Leonard, he was traded to the Toronto Raptors in the offseason of 2018, and it was actually one of those blockbuster moves that nobody saw coming because it heavily rumored going to the Lakers, but he went to the North. He had these stats: 29 points per game, 9.5 rebounds per game, 4.3 assists, 2.2 steals, 1.2 blocks. Hands down, the greatest player of the series was Kawhi Leonard, who it would have been his only conference finals MVP in the East, as this was the only season playing for his Eastern Conference team his whole career. So when you look at the numbers, Leonard clearly averaged 30 points and nearly averaged double-double. He shot 88.5% from the free throw line and averaged a whopping 2.2 steals per game against a formidable offensive opponent in the Bucks, who had the league's finals MVP, not finals MVP, regular season MVP at the time in Giannis Antetokounmpo. So Leonard was the only player to average at least 20 points per game for the Raptors, despite having players like Pascal Siakam, Marcus Gasol, Serge Ibaka. Leonard managed to nearly average double-digit rebounds. He would have swept the finals and conference finals MVP this season. So I mean, Kawhi Leonard, man, he's just that dude. I mean, that time I can just say, he just came in. He was a 1 year rental for the he was a 1 year rental for the Toronto Raptors. We already know he was going to leave Toronto, so he went out on a high. He won that Finals MVP, but he was a surefire Eastern Conference Finals MVP at the time because his impact was just transcendent and he just did his thing. But moving on to the next season, 2019-2020, Bama Adebayo, Miami Heat, he would have won the conference finals MVP. So Eastern Conference Finals, Miami Heat versus Boston Celtics, and this series was actually pretty good to watch. Pretty entertaining. It happened in the bubble. Miami Heat beat the Celtics in 6 games. So Bama Adebayo, 21.8 points per game, 11 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 1.7 steals, and 1.1 blocks. Three players averaged more points per game than Jimmy Butler this series. That includes Tyler Hero, Goran Dragic, but the conference finals MVP would have gone to the 22-year-old Bama Adebayo in this series. Bama Adebayo led the Heat in scoring, rebounding, and playmaking. His 5.2 assists per game led the team, and as did his 21.8 points per game and 11 rebounds per game. On top of that, his defense was superb. I mean, I remember he had that iconic block on Jason Tatum. I mean, that's just one for the books. He led the team with 1.7 steals, but the only one player who averaged more blocks per game was Jay Crowder at 1.2 blocks. The best game of the series for Bama Adebayo was Game 6, where the Heat sealed the ticket to the NBA Finals, 125-113 win, with Bama Adebayo recording 32 points and 14 rebounds. So, I mean, this series was actually pretty entertaining because this is the season where the Miami Heat, led by Jimmy Butler, Bama Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and they made the finals. Although they lost the finals in 6 games to the eventual champions Los Angeles Lakers. This was one of the greatest series at the time in the bubble. It's actually pretty interesting to watch. So yeah, in 2020-2021, Chris Middleton for the Milwaukee Bucks would have won his first ever Eastern Conference Finals MVP, as the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Atlanta Hawks in 6 games, 4-2. So Chris Middleton, 23.7 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, 6.5 assists per game, 1.7 steals, 0 for 2 blocks per game. While one may look at Giannis Antetokounmpo here, you have to remember that he missed 2 games of the season due to an injury. He actually stretched his knee. It was Chris Middleton that stepped up in his absence, together with Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker, and all those guys. That included scoring 32 points to lead the Milwaukee Bucks to a 118-107 win in Game 6 to send the Bucks to the NBA Finals for the first time since the days of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, that was in the 70s. So Chris Middleton just 10 more points than Giannis to lead the team in total points. I mean, he scored 10 more points than Giannis, man. Had Giannis played the full series, it will be an easy decision to give Giannis the Finals MVP. But he got injured in Game 4, and I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks were just headed to the finals eventually because there was no way they're going to drop the series to the Atlanta Hawks. He averaged 26.5 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.5 steals, 1 block. Drew Holiday averaged double-double, 22 points, 10 assists. But you cannot discount the fact that Chris Middleton led that team at that time when the MVP was not playing, because I can say Chris Middleton confidently, he's one of the I don't want to say most skilled because Giannis is also skilled, but he's actually very impactful with that Milwaukee Bucks team. Looking at how this 2022 postseason occurred, without Chris Middleton, Giannis was not able to get past the Boston Celtics. Although they got beat by the Celtics in 7, you can say Chris Middleton's 26.5 points per game would have made an impact or made a change in that series and will have tipped the series towards the Milwaukee Bucks, because man, I mean, I was just waiting to see them go back to back, but his injury just quite set the team right back this season. So yeah, so those are your Eastern Conference champions, Eastern Conference Finals MVPs. So I feel like the next video I'm gonna look at the West, the Magic Johnson's Western Conference Finals MVP. So please be sure to tune into that, because you can see LeBron James will have won 8 of those awards. I mean, LeBron James since 2011 2018, he has won all those awards. It's only 2018 2019 as Kawhi Leonard, 2019 2020 Bam Adebayo, and 2020 2021 Chris Middleton. So you can see LeBron's dominance on the East was just evident, and there was nothing stopping him at this time. So uh, that's the video. So if you guys like the video, make sure to leave your feedback down in the comments. What you think about this video, what you think about the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference Finals MVP, the Conference Finals MVP award, what you think about it, and peace out.